Hello and welcome to the Pro Detailer podcast. Today we are doing a world first. Well, it's a Pro Detailer first, really. We have taken all of our podcasting kit and we have gone via aeroplane on a very stressful journey, as to be said, on a Sunday afternoon, and we brought everything to Italy. And you might be thinking, why have you done that in November? Because it's cold and rainy in Milan in November. But actually, we've done it because
it's cold and rainy in England in November as well.
Well, it's not. I've been sent photos from the missus. It's a lovely day. But we are here and we are basically Pro Detailer on tour. And we are in the Rupes Training Centre Extraordinaire at their kind of new, well, their HQ. I say new, it's been 21 years, but at the training centre in somewhere called Magenta.
Actually, the right location is Vermezzo.
And that's very different.
Close to Milan.
Close to Milan. So basically top of Italy. It's very pretty. And we are joined here by Mr. Francesco. Now, could you introduce yourself, sir?
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Francesco Ginocchio. I'm a global marketing manager for Rupes. And so I take care about all the marketing activities at the global level for our company to promote everything, all our products, accessories, the name, the brand, everything.
Lives in marketing. It's very exciting to meet you as well because I've seen all the marketing collateral over the years from the magazine point of view. So to find the man who's created it all, he's a bit of a celeb, guys, bit of a celeb. So what I wanted to do is kind of look at Rupes. I mean, Rupes in the UK exploded in, I think, 2010, 2011 with Bigfoot. And before then, nobody outside of body shops had really heard of Rupes, I'm afraid. But when the Bigfoot came, it was the hot property. It was sort of carnauba, it was ceramic, but it was that kind of keyword, that buzzword. And we had lots of detailers getting the Rupes machines, and the Bigfoots were flying off, and it was a huge sort of success. What was it like from your point of view? Because you joined before Bigfoot, didn't you?
Actually, I joined Rupes when we started with the Bigfoot. So I started everything since the beginning. And when I joined Rupes, just consider that Rupes didn't even have a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, no social network. So just as they made the just traditional market. When I joined Rupes, to start to promote the Bigfoot system, I opened a Facebook page, all other social channels, and just by myself, I started to go to surf on through all the social media to see what's going on, just to see the market, to know. And by case, we discover this word, detailing. Actually, because in Italy, we didn't even know what the detailing was. And just looking my marketing research, we found detailing. What detailing is. So just let's try to go through this word, what's with this market. And so everything started. Just a few months, 1 year after the introduction of the Bigfoot system. That's why we started to develop the Bigfoot 15.
Yeah.
Because we started with the 21, then the 15 came out when we started to deal with this new market for us.
I didn't know that. I didn't know the 21 was first.
Yeah.
I just assumed the 21 was development of the 15.
No, actually,
I'm getting deja vu. We've talked about how that, and we knew that the 21 was first.
We might have, but I don't listen to what you say.
No, well, that's fair enough. But I'm getting deja vu on that too.
Interesting.
Yes,
an interesting man talking about interesting things. You talk about Subarus and stuff.
Yeah, I'm a kind of exciting guy like that.
Because of course the Bigfoot was supposed to be just for the car body shop market.
Yeah.
So
just for the body shop.
And then, as I told you, we discovered the detailing market by case.
It's like opening a box and going, ooh.
Yes, all these strange people.
It was a very nice discovery because we made a big success, a blast in that market.
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. So when you first started when Bigfoot first kind of, I keep on using this word exploded, which is probably a bad idea, but when it first became very popular, what was the strongest market for it? Because in Italy, detailing it obviously exists, but it's not a big part of the market. Whereas in the UK, in Germany, in the USA, detailing is a much kind of bigger deal. Did you find that? I mean, speaking obviously as a UK magazine, did you find that the UK market was a particularly big one, or what was your experience?
Yes, actually, UK market, US market, and some Asian countries. Yes, they were our main market at the beginning. Yes, absolutely.
And now you, I can't remember, when did Rupes Incorporated appear? Because you got like a whole separate US kind of empire as well, because it's such a big market. And I believe you're doing some manufacturing and things over in the USA as well.
Yeah, so we, a few years ago, we acquired a company named Cyclone, the producer of these two-head machines.
Twin head machine,
right.
yeah. I have one.
Good choice. And so we established a headquarter in US, and after a while we started also the production of our Bigfoot machines. So just we acquired the Cyclone because it was located in a strategic logistic part of the US. And
Whereabouts is it?
It's in, close to Denver, in Colorado.
Okay, I thought it was going to be Boise because everywhere else in America, any manufacturing is in Boise. You go for the rag company out there, you have Lake Country out there, and they're all centered around this one little detailing complex.
It's like a triangle, isn't it?
Yes.
Like a Bermuda Triangle of machine companies. And in the US, the machines that are made in the US, are they just for the US domestic market, or are they re-exported around the world?
No, at the moment for the US domestic market, yes.
And I imagine that's just because you've got so many customers in America that it's more cost efficient to make them in America and then send them out. And tax, I imagine, is a bit easier.
Absolutely. Mainly because they wanted to offer much better service. Yes, to have everything available in the local market, just to supply all our distributors in a very short time. That was the main point.
So it's not just machines, is it? It's you make all the pads out there as well and the compounds.
Now, probably you have seen a recent video that we are setting up a manufacturing plant in Houston,
in
Texas, and we'll start production of pads at the moment and then the compounds.
So how are you finding it transferring? Because obviously, you're a long-established Italian company, and manufacturing. Italy is a massive manufacturer. People don't realise this. Everybody say, what's the biggest manufacturer in Europe? And everybody says Germany, correctly. But Italy, I think, is probably number 2.
Definitely, if you go by sort of the northern half of the country, there's a lot of manufacturing up north.
Yes, right, especially north of Italy, yes.
Yeah, it rather embarrasses.
Very similar to the UK.
Well, there is that, but I think they're much bigger than the UK in terms of overall manufacturing capacity, I suspect, because we're so service-based. But it's just, do you find transferring your way of manufacturing things over to the USA, has that been a challenge? Has that been quite difficult because they've got different culture there?
No difficulties. Actually, no, they started since the beginning in a perfect way. Actually, we just give to them instruction how to assemble our machine. Americans are, for the organization point of view, they are very, very strict. So they have a perfect organization. Everything was very easy to set up everything in a very good way.
Mm-hmm. And I was talking to...
It was Ram we were talking to, wasn't it? Who was trying to set up, Ram from Colorlock. He was saying about how over there it's a lot more about the wages and how the benefits and everything like that are organised that make it such a challenge for European companies to set up new operations in America. Very expensive for people to start up, and it's almost that's why so many European companies tend to just export out and mail out from there. Have you had any issues with just the organisation side of it, or has that been fairly fluid?
Have you got an American in charge or an Italian in charge out there?
No, actually, because of the people. So we are very smart people, so everything was very easy. Also, thanks to them. So
cool. Well, it does help having a good team wherever you're at.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I had to say to find that. So let's sort of twinkle. Have you got a twinkle sound effect?
I'll have to. There you go. I
Okay,
just stopped that halfway through.
Yeah, I'm about to say that was pretty poor. But we go back into the beginning of time and 1947 when...
Yeah.
There we go. Got that one. There you go.
Sorry, he's very slow on the uptake sometimes. So 1947, the beginning of RUPES. Obviously, you weren't involved then because you are, 35 years old or so?
Okay, it's almost 50, actually.
Don't worry, you can pay me later.
I've got a sound effect for that as well.
Whack, whack, whack. It's a privately owned company, so it's a family-run company.
Exactly, yes.
Which is a big plus. I mean, there are a lot of companies in the bigger companies in our industry which have PLCs with shareholders and stuff like that, but you still have the family running it at the very top.
Absolutely. And we are very lucky because our president, Mr. Guido Valentini, who is also the owner and the president of our company, he's I can say that he's a sort of Steve Jobs of the tools, because he have a very long vision in the future. So he thinks everything about everything in advance. Actually, Bigfoot was his own idea, and so
he's a big picture kind of guy.
Absolutely, you can see the big pictures. You can see 20 years in advance. Thanks to him, that this company has always been successful along these years. And
I don't want to put on you straight away like a requirement for figures, but roughly how many people work here?
Around 150 people, yes, including people from the production. Yeah, and all the sales managers.
Cool. We've done a little factory tour so far of where the machines are made, and we've done some kind of cool videos actually of actual assembly of Bigfoots and stuff. And I believe we're going to be going and having a look at another facility later on this afternoon, and then tomorrow we're off to see a detail of all sorts of bits and bobs. So keep your eyes on the next issue for a big rundown of that one. But now an interesting topic here. So historically, in the body shop particularly, pneumatic tools win. And electric tools were not so keen. Detailing has been the other way around. On the whole, detailers use electric tools, and some use pneumatic tools for sanders particularly. Right. However, what we're seeing is a sort of a change in that. And I believe, because RUPES has got different, what would you call them, different divisions for dealing with pneumatic or electric and different tools like that. And it's almost a competition, I feel, the feeling I get.
Yes, actually, it depends also country by country and also market by market. So some countries, they prefer the electric tools, as maybe because of the cost of the electricity. Mm-hmm. And some other countries, they prefer pneumatic tools. So it depends. So we cannot say that in some market they prefer electrics versus pneumatics, but depends also maybe by the country and some other reasons. Yes, in detailing, actually, I see that they still prefer electric tools and now battery tools. Mm-hmm. So,
and you think I suspect there's going to be change. Do you think that balance between pneumatic and electric is changing in certain markets?
I can say that now, actually, pneumatic tools are slowing down because of the entrance in the market of the brushless tools. Mm-hmm. So they are probably taking the place of the pneumatic tools because they are very light, very comfortable to use, very ergonomic. So people, especially in car body shop market, they are going to prefer the brushless tools instead of the pneumatic ones.
Yes, and that I think answers another question, which was, what's the biggest step change in electric tools? And the brushless motor,
yes, absolutely,
allows. I mean, its efficiency, its speed, it's how it's so much easier to run at higher RPM, and all sorts of other bits of information on it. It's fascinating. That's tech. Right. So international expansion. Now, before Bigfoot, you were already an international company sending out to an international market.
Yes, not so international because I guess the turnover was before the Bigfoot. So just when we started to introduce the Bigfoot, the market was 70% Italian market and the rest international. Now the percentage is the opposite.
Yeah.
Now we are 20-30% turnover from the Italian market, and the rest are from international markets.
National market. So
Yes.
from an export point of view, you're one of the big powerhouses of Italian export, expertise. It's very cool. Are you seeing, obviously markets kind of develop and grow in order. So the UK perhaps is an early adopter for new machines and stuff like that. But you were saying how countries in the Far East were also early to take up the Bigfoot. You had America.
Yes,
Far East and that. Are you finding more countries are kind of coming online? What new markets are you kind of exploring? Where are you finding the biggest growth at the moment?
No, actually, along the years, yes, countries like Eastern Europe, some other countries, Latin America, but at the early beginning, just UK, US, and in Asia, particularly Singapore, Thailand, yes, these two countries mainly, yes. And the funny thing is that I discovered them on Facebook, and I opened distributors on Facebook. They send me orders for a machine through Facebook Messenger. It was, okay, maybe I can formally accept your order through Messenger. Please at least send me an email. But at the beginning, it worked in that way. Through social networks, they really help us to expand our business in the detailing market.
I get the feeling that prior to your arrival, an established Italian business like it would in the UK or anything like that, you have a very regimented system. So we've dealt with some old English car care companies, and the ordering process and getting onto their systems and all the paperwork that fills out, it's very archaic. But, and the idea of them accepting a Facebook order is just, one of them isn't even on Facebook, and they've been around for
You have to print out the Facebook message first and then post it to them.
Yes, send it up to Stoke-on-Trent. But at the same time, though, it sounds like when you came here, you were embracing all this new technology, all these social medias and stuff like that. And I get the feeling you might have been responsible for sort of pulling Rupes into that kind of modern, communication system.
Yes, right. But it was fun. I spent at the beginning days and nights just because, during the night... Americans during the day, the other countries, and I start to know people, meet people, virtually meet people, chat with people from all the globe during the night with 10 chats open at the same time, chatting with people, because I was new in that market, so I wanted to know everyone, and it was a good way to start to know people in this business, because actually they live on socials.
Yeah.
So it was the only way to know people from the detailing market. Yeah. So to interact with them, to get them knowing our system, to make us friends. Along years, I met them in real during some car show, and it was real fun, actually.
Yeah. No, it's cool. And also, it is a weird feeling when you feel like you know somebody because you've been on video conference, and then after 5 years, you end up meeting them in the flesh. And it's bizarre. It's like, I'm sure you should be taller. So now I think we'll take a little break, and then we're going to be back shortly, and we'll have some more questions. And then we're going to go through our 10 quick fire round, which is never quick fire. And we'll find out more about yourself.
Perfect.
If you haven't already purchased your copy, you can get issue 14 now at prodetailermagazine.com. And if you fancy any of the back issues as well, Pro Detailer Magazine is available as a mega pack that includes everything from issue 5 up until issue 14, all for one price, and we can ship around the world.
And we're back. We are obviously still at the Rupes Training Centre very close to Milan. And we're joined here by Francesco. And we want to talk now about a couple of things. But the first is the Hybrid Nano.
Yeah.
And so I remember we were at a fair, I think it was at the NEC, at a trade show, and we saw the Hybrid for the first time, and we took a little mobile phone video, and it went off. It was very, very popular. Loads of people wanted it, and everybody was talking about the Hybrid for a bit. And since then, the Hybrid has been copied by hundreds of companies all over the place. They all come over from China.
Unfortunately, we know.
It must be very frustrating.
Yes.
Imagine how Henry Ford feels. What was interesting is you were saying that the Hybrid was it was a solution. You were relating it almost to seeing on social media what detailers were struggling to find.
Right, that's right. Because just watching what was happening in the market through the social media, also I got some direct requests about why don't you develop something small to work on small spots, and because actually there was no solution to work in small parts to make detailing of all the small parts in the car. So of course we had a sort of solution because we have a pneumatic machine, a very small pneumatic machine, but pneumatic machine, the RPM were too high, so it was not the easiest way to work with that machine for some paint correction. So we started to think about something different, small, battery powered, but not battery, because actually we're talking about hybrid machine. So both battery and
mains power.
Yes, right. So we started to develop this machine because of this market request. So because that was something that detailers needed, and actually had a very big success in the market.
Yeah, it really did take it by storm. And even now, there is still, apart from the Chinese copies and stuff, there is not a machine as small and agile as the hybrid. So and this is again a misconception. A lot of people when the hybrid came out said, "Oh, it's not very powerful," but it doesn't need to be very powerful because the idea is it is small and precise. It's like a dentist's drill when he's going into your mouth. You don't want him to be sitting there with a massive great Makita at 5,000 RPM. You need something small and delicate.
That's right. That's right. Of course, you needed to work into very small details. You don't need a very such big power. It works perfect. Actually, it has a very good, very high power because if you press the machine, it still works. It's a feeling that it seems that it hasn't enough power, but actually it has.
It's fit, yeah. It has the power for what it needs to do, and that is the key to it. And I kind of want to take this actually more onto the machine design. So the two big players in detailing for machines, certainly in the UK market, should we say, or the mainstream top end machines, is Rupes and Flex. And we've been around the Flex factory in Germany, and it's remarkable how many things are similar and how many things are different at the different places. But with the German machines, you get the feeling it's very German, whereas, everything
You sound disappointed when you say this. Are they Germans? They are so German.
Well,
it's normal. They're allowed to be.
Yeah, no, and the better for it sometimes.
If they were French and they were too German, then there's a problem.
However, but the point I'm getting at is that, for example, the Bigfoot has the carbon fibre effect, what I call the toe. I don't know if it is the toe, possibly the nose. What would you call it?
I call it the duck's arse.
The duck's arse.
Yeah, because it looks at the back of a duck.
Okay. What's the official name of the bit you hold with the carbon fibre on?
It's the duck's arse.
I can say it in Italian, but you have to say that in English.
No, you say it in Italian, and I will embarrass myself.
Just the front cover. That's all.
The front cover.
The front cover.
I bet it sounds sexier in
the
Italian.
handle. Front handle, maybe.
Front handle. You're right. It does sound better in Italian. Yeah. But my point is that you would, from Flex, would never put carbon fibre on the front of the machine that isn't carbon fibre, unless it was actually there for a need. But you were like, no, we want these machines to look cool. And there is something, I've got to be careful how far I go here. But if you have an LHR 15, particularly the Mark III...
If you start saying a machine polisher looks sexual, then we are stopping the podcast now. We're not going to go down this route of questioning.
Okay, well, it's curvy. It's curvaceous. And I don't know, there is elegance, but not saying one machine's better than the other, but in there feels like there is a more creative design. There is more Italian passion in the machines that you put together. And it feels like, because, obviously you're head of marketing, so you're head of the kind of how the company looks to everybody else. And I do get the feeling that the products, at some point in the design and development process, one of the machines is put on a table in front of lots of Italians, and they decide whether it is good enough, not whether it works well enough, not whether it's the right price, but just if it looks right. Am I completely wrong?
No, that's correct, because we usually take care about the design of our machines, about the aesthetical layout. So, of course, it's a very important part of our development process, of course, because first thing is, okay, machine must work, perfectly works.
Yes.
Must be efficient, all the technical stuff must work very well, of course, blah, blah, blah. But also the design is a very important point, because then when you put a machine on the catalog, on the web, that's the design that people see. So that's why it's very important. Is because it's important that because the machine in that way can market itself just with the design.
It's more desirable, I suppose.
Like a nice car.
It's very much like Alfa Romeo, except that when the Alfa Romeos are beautiful cars, but they forgot that first step in the process where they designed. I've owned Alfa Romeos before, and they are fantastic cars to sit in, as long as you want to sit on the side of the road and wait. It's a real shame.
Well, we've got to be careful, because Francesco, we'll get onto his car at the moment, but I've already asked him about his recovery service, and it's not an Alfa Romeo. Yeah. But the other thing, I see it in everything with Rupes. So, for example, I am a lot of the time up when I'm putting them, kind of getting the images ready for the magazine, stuff like that. I'll go onto manufacturer websites, and on a lot of them, you've got a straightforward. So again, on the Flex, they've got perfect images of it, side on, top on. And they've got a nice schematic and the things, and it's all very technical. When you're releasing a new machine, and the early publicity photos, they are always sort of shadowy and moody, and you feel like it's an advert for a fancy perfume or some sort of, I don't know, high class sort of London service.
Yeah, we like nice pictures. We like it because when we introduce a new machine, we always organize a photo session with a professional photographer just to take very nice, fancy, cool pictures. Because, of course, from one side we have the classic picture for the catalogs with the white background.
Technical
picture. Yes, very boring pictures. But I like this picture with a black background, with the reflection. So that's something that people like, for sure. When you see this kind of picture on social, they make a blast, of course, as they get virals. And
it's like when you're doing product reveals, you'll reveal a little tiny photo, and it's like, oh, something special is coming. For me, that's very irritating, because I then have to extrapolate what the rest of the machine is going to look like. But no, it's a nice touch, really. And another thing that is kind of cool is you've got these detailing centres, which we've briefly alluded to already. But I was thinking, actually, people listening to this might be interested to learn what they're about, what is a kind of criteria to become a Rupes detailing centre, and what your kind of long-term goal is. Because essentially, the idea, and correct me if I'm wrong, the idea is to create centres around the world, and you already have a lot of these appearing. You're saying new ones in India, and obviously there are ones in the US.
Yeah, right.
2 in the UK, I believe, that are kind of almost like a franchised car dealer. So if you go to an Alfa Romeo dealership, everything is Alfa Romeo. And to have that consistency, which a lot of places they don't have. You might have one sign on the wall, but from what I can interpret is that you need to have the right colour. You have to paint the walls the right colour. You have to have the right logos. It's got to be, tell me what the grand plan is with the Rupes centres.
Okay, the main idea is to have these detailing centers all around the world, where people can be sure to have the same service, the same high quality service, the same detailing services worldwide in the same way, at the same high level, the same quality. So that's the main idea. Then we offer this solution to people who want to start a new detailing business, or for some people who already has a detailing business but they want to improve and to make that under a brand, a well-recognized brand like Bigfoot. And as you said, you are correct. We ask for some very simple guidelines. So you mean black walls, same sign, same kind of lights. But it's not actually our own request. These are the basics for set up a very detailing studio in a very good way, because we have discovered in our research that to have black walls and spotlights you can highlight
You can see the
all
defects. Yeah.
Okay. Instead, you can see some studios that they have all white.
And the hex lights.
In a very bright environment, it's very difficult to show up all the defects that you have on the paint of a car. So that's why we ask for some special colors, special lights, and so on. Because,
so if you're a detailer now in England or anywhere else in the world, and you want to become a RUPES, an official RUPES detailing centre, what is the procedure? What do you need to think about in advance in terms of your skills, in terms of budget? Because I imagine there's quite a cost to this sort of thing. And what sort of benefits do you think that the detailer, obviously the customer will get consistent service, that makes sense. It's like having a Porsche dealership all around the world. If you have a Porsche, you know they'll use genuine Porsche parts and they'll go by the Porsche handbook. But if you're a detailer, what do who are you looking for to take on these sort of these centres?
Of course, a detailer want to start with this project. If they want to join us in this project, of course, they must be skilled. Because since we want to offer high quality services, we need someone who is already skilled, who is already a professional detailer, but who wants to start the business under our name, under the Bigfoot name. And if they want to join our project, they can just send us a request through our website, and then our local sales manager can get in touch with them. They have to check if they have all the requests that we ask for example, the location, the position of this location, if they are very logistically speaking a good place, if they have the skill to run the detailing business, if they have a sort of, how can I say, a business-oriented mind, because in that way, okay, we can offer to them support, marketing support, technical support, but they are entrepreneurs. So they must be entrepreneurs because they have to promote the business at the local level.
Yeah, they're independent. They still remain independent.
Of course, it's not a real franchising, but it's like franchising. We can offer them all the possible support, but then they have to run the business and to make the promotion, advertisement locally.
And make it profitable.
Yeah, and make it profitable, of course.
And do they have to come in for, because obviously you've got training centre here, and this is, bear in mind, we're not talking about RUPES training centres, we're talking about RUPES detailing centres.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So to be a RUPES trainer is a different thing.
Yes, different story.
If you were a detailing centre, would it make sense, I guess, to go to a RUPES training centre for some sort of check or test?
Absolutely. Usually we offer, it depends, 2 or 3 days of training here in our center, just to adjust their skill, just to explain everything about our Bigfoot system. Because usually they are already good detailers, but maybe they are not aware about everything of our Bigfoot system. So we have to explain everything, all the details, all the tips and tricks about our system, so just to make them more comfortable with our polishing system.
This has always been the big selling point about the Bigfoot. It's not just the Bigfoot; it's the Bigfoot system. It's the color coding. Right. It's the everything goes together with the different pads, the different compounds. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, you got the point. At the beginning, the idea was not just to introduce, to develop a new machine, a new polisher, but a complete system. Because the machine has been designed to work in combination with the backing pad, with the pads, and with the right compounds. So just one single piece alone doesn't make any sense. So we wanted to, I think Rupes was the first company to introduce a complete polishing system. Because and actually the results of the color matching that
of the lids of the pads or anything like that.
Yeah. So yellow pad with a yellow compound. So this match color combination also was something very useful for the users, because they didn't have to think about, okay, which compound now I have to use with this pad. So very easy.
And it's not just that color code system, it's little innovations like the UHS compound. You're working on UHS ultra high solids paint.
Yeah, right.
You have a specific compound for that. People would struggle to correct a lot of these finishes historically, but did you identify that? Is that another one of these solutions that are identified from social media, or?
Yes, There was something not from social media, but our R&D manager discovered that we need something for this new generation clear coat. So that's why we introduced the UHS a few years ago. Yes. But of course, the main idea was to introduce a complete system.
Yeah.
And it helped a lot because the machine is works perfectly, is well balanced if it's used with the right pads, the right backing pads, and then the compound must be suitable for that kind of pads because they are open cells, so there are a lot of parameters that makes the pads working well with some special compounds.
I mean, when I talk to detailers about it, I try to explain the color coding system as your baseline, because ultimately you'll come across a car or a paint, more specifically, that you need to kind of think out of the box to get there. But if you default to the RUPES system as your starting point, and then you can work from there if you're still struggling with the paint. And that's the way I kind of always pitch it. And it is that full system, because I think even in Body Shop back in the day, 3M and people had color coded things, but it wasn't so contiguous. It was just they had a medium pad and they had a medium polish, and you just presume it goes together. When with the RUPES system, it's tailored for the different types of paint, but it's your kind of your starting point, and a more experienced detailer. And again, this is kind of it's shortcutting some of the experience side, and I think that's a big thing about the whole Bigfoot anyway. It allowed a complete amateur to kind of play above their station in some ways because of the ability that it gave them. It's in a way it's
kind of shortcutted a bit of the knowledge by making it easier for them to find a solution.
And I put it this way: I compare it to the Mitsubishi Evo, which has four-wheel drive and clever driving aids and all sorts of bits and bobs. So you can look like Fangio, even though you're not. So it makes it easier to do it. And I think in the early days that helped so many detailers get that level up. And I remember talking to some and they were saying, well, they've kind of taken a shortcut. But that's the thing, is it lets you get to that base level quickly. So then you can really start investing your time and effort into training further and getting the more advanced skills. And I think it works nicely. One thing I just wanted to touch on before moving on, with the detailing centre, you said it was important that customers could get the same service anywhere in the world.
Yes, that's the idea.
Now, does that mean that you have a menu of services that they can offer, or can individual ones offer their own services at different pricing, or is it all very kind of controlled so it is consistent internationally?
So about the prices, we cannot set up some prices at the global level because country by country, of course, as you have different prices, they have to offer different prices because of the local customers can be different. So that's something that we cannot tell them. But we cannot say about prices, but about the services, of course. Sorry. Oh. Sorry. They must offer at least polishing services. Yes. Of course. Then some of them offer also some other services like wrapping, film protection, other kind of services. But basically, they must offer polishing services for sure.
Well, I suppose that makes sense with a machine polishing company.
Of course, that's right.
And you offer, I mean, the RUPES, people don't realise, but the chemical range you offer is really quite expansive now. I mean, you don't have you've not got a full range, but there are a lot more products than people know. Are you looking to get to the point where a car, from when it is washed to when it goes out and is ceramic coated or PPF, that there is a RUPES product for everything? Or
at the moment, we have no plan to develop other products like ceramic protection or films, so on. At the moment, our focus is on polishing systems, so compounds, pads, tools. We are still working on car care products, but at the moment, it's not our core business. So we prefer to stay focused on polishing stuff.
Yes, I think there's a lot to be said for that, and not spreading the resources too thin, if you see what I mean.
That's right. That's right.
And so now we've come to the moment that everybody has been waiting for. And Francesco, I'm going to ask you our 10 quick fire questions. Asterisks, they're not always quick fire. Okay.
I'm a bit scared about that.
Well, this is fun. So bear in mind, you're not a detailer. You run a multinational company's marketing department. So we are going to ask all the questions we normally ask. Some of them, I suspect, the answers are going to be quite easy, and some of them less so.
Okay.
So what is the current car that you drive?
I have a Jaguar E-Pace.
So you have an English car.
Yes, I have an English.
It's fascinating, this. The number of people high up in car, the guy who runs Soft 99 in Europe loves Aston Martins and Jaguars. And the number of Anglophiles sort of at the top of their game, it's bizarre why they make such mistakes despite being so successful. What is your dream car? So you had all the money in the world and you could have any car you wanted. Which make and model of car would you have?
That's a very difficult question. Actually, I think a Ferrari. For sure. I don't know which model, but...
it would have to be a Ferrari.
Any model would be very...
For a second, I thought he was going to say Alfa Romeo, and I was going to have a very, very uncomfortable exit.
Now, this is tricky. So the first car you ever detailed, what car... Let's rephrase that and say, I'm guessing you have washed cars in the past and you've detailed cars and spent some time on the appearance of a car. Very few times. Okay, well, if anything, that makes it easier. What car have you done? What sticks in your memory of a car that you remember washing or detailing or machining?
Probably here at the Bigfoot Center. We washed one time Ford GT. Ford GT, yes, a muscle car, yes.
Yeah.
And it was
As in a 60s, 70s, or one of the newer ones?
If it's a GT, it's a new one.
Yes, it was a new one. Yes,
Yeah,
right.
the 2005 car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about this? What about this Citroen behind us? We have the lovely Citroen DS.
Yes, for the benefit of the tape, we have a Citroen DS20, which is the right Citroen DS as well, and it is gorgeous.
What do you say with indignation? Is everyone's going to disagree with that?
Well,
They either don't care. Or
I have
they
friends
agree.
in the Citroen Club who would. No, I have friends in the Citroen Club who would disagree. But is this belongs to somebody? I'm guessing.
Yes, to our president. Yes.
It's your president.
Just going to have a round of applause for that.
But it is a most beautiful car, and I've been getting very excited about it all day, just looking at it. God, I love a Citroen DS. Anyway, so next question, moving on. Sorry, the emotion. DA or rotary?
DA.
DA.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
And when you're washing a car, how many buckets do you use to wash a car?
So, by manual, I should say 2.
Next question.
Next, move on rapidly. I think this one will be easier. Porsche or Ferrari?
Ferrari, of course.
Now, this is a more important question. Mitsubishi or Subaru?
Subaru.
Good. Do you have a favourite Subaru?
The Impreza, yes.
Interesting. Well, you're still young at heart. What would be your dream car? If you were given any car to detail, what would be your dream car to wash and detail and machine polish?
Fiat 500 because it's small, so very, very little surface to polish.
And not too expensive either. Yes. Oh, I've just gone through the paint on this Ferrari. Okay, so this is an awkward question. Flex or Rupes?
Just let's think about.
Okay, hang on. We can take a pause if necessary. Rupes just goes without saying. And so you have a Sunday morning free. You don't have to do anything with the family. You don't have to do any work. You've done all the necessary church and everything. Do you wash your car or do you go and drive your car?
Drive my car for sure.
Yes. Have we had anyone who wants to do a Sunday detail yet?
No, even I don't want to do a Sunday detail because I do.
You say even. I mean, you're the first person I know not to.
I'm probably the last person that wants to do a Sunday.
So I think that brings us to the end. And thank you so much for taking the time to do a podcast with us. It's been great fun.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome location.
Yes, it is a very cool. It might be a bit echoey, but that is because it's worth it. I'm happy to cope with the echoes for this cool location with ultra sexy car there. So it is goodbye from me.
Goodbye also from my side.
And goodbye from mine.
See you later.